Good morning, guys. You hear me all right?
Yeah.
So we're very excited today to have Natasha on. Natasha is a full-time energy healer, certified emotional code practitioner, and also experienced in many other forms of healing modalities like body code, EFT, Reconnective Healing, the full Court of Atonement, energy balancing by numbers, and many more. So with that, we're very glad to have you on. Take it away, Natasha.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for this nice introduction. Hi, I'm really glad to meet you. Happy New Year to all of you. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a bit anxious because this is like a first speech that I'm doing here, but everything will be fine. So I have few notes here, and I hope you don't mind if I will be reading from time to time because I just don't want, I have so many things to tell you, and I don't want to forget anything, okay? So I just want to tell you, I work as an energy healer full-time for last 5 years, and my journey has been tremendous, amazing, personal, professional, and I would like to share some of my experience with you. So what I actually do with my clients, I go to the energy level and I'm helping them to release the root causes of any ailment that they might have, because everything is energy. And I had great success with lots of different things, anything physical, emotional, mental. Actually, the root cause is in the energy realm. So when we release the root cause from the energy realm, then our body can heal because it is naturally programmed to do so. Okay. So I have realized that energy healing is a fantastic healing modality because it goes to the deepest level of creation, which is energy. And as I said, like our body are naturally programmed to heal. And if they are not healing, that means that there is some kind of block or imbalance there. And I'm helping my clients to release them so energy can flow again and they can then heal. Okay, so even though I'm saying that I am an energy healer, I'm aware that I'm not the one who is doing the healing. I'm just a channel of a higher power who is doing work through me. Okay, so yeah, I would like to talk about the word emotion. Like if you put it like E/motion, it is saying that actually emotions are energy in motion. Okay, and if they get stuck in the body because we were not ready to feel them at certain time, they can wreak havoc. And because they don't go away, they stay lodged in the body, and people who can see energy can actually see those emotions. They look like balls of energy, and they can be tiny and they can be really huge. And what we usually do, we also put them around our hearts in order to protect ourselves from being hurt again. But what we are actually doing with this on a subconscious level, of course, we are not protecting ourselves, but actually we are blocking ourselves from receiving love, from giving love, from healing. And so many illnesses actually start from suppressed emotions and traumas and things that we were not just ready to encounter at the time. So what I actually do, I work, body is trying to communicate with us when we have trapped emotions, and over a period of time, those emotions start to causing us any physical ailment, even headache. Your body is trying to talk to you. It is trying to tell you something, but unfortunately, usually we don't understand the language of our body. And actually, this is what I do for my clients. I step in and I'm working as a, let's call it translator, okay? I'm trying to connect them back to their innate wisdom inside of their bodies, okay? So, so everything is energy. And if we want to change anything in our life, the best thing that we can do is to go to the energy level and release things there. And yeah, I would like to talk to you about, like, there are 4 main levels of our energy system or our energy bodies. Physical, okay, this is what we see. Emotional, this is what we are supposed to feel. Mental, these are our thoughts and memories. And then there is a spiritual realm. And blocks or imbalances first start from outside in. So they will start in the spiritual realm, in the mental realm, in emotional realm. And if we are not able to deal with them, they will start to coming into our physical being, into our physical body, and starts to present themselves as something painful. And actually, with this, our body is trying to get our attention. Something is not in alignment, something needs to be changed. And this is what I'm helping my clients to deal with. Usually, the root causes of almost any ailment that I have helped my clients to deal with is some kind of trapped emotion or trauma or emotional wound. When I say a wound, for me, this is when we have a cluster of trauma that has happened at some point of time and it got suppressed in our energy system. Stress is a huge thing. And also toxins in our environment, they all have, even pathogens, we can release them on energy level, and then we can help our body to start to heal. So, for example, I have been able to help my clients with things that modern medicine don't have answer to yet, like allergies, they are big, like skin conditions, like even depression, because doctors cannot see the root causes and they cannot address it because it's not in the physical realm, it is in the mental and emotional. And when we go to the energy root causes and we remove them, then people can heal. This is why doctors are just baffled and they don't have answers to it, okay? So there are many things that I can help my clients with, obviously, but I decided, okay, so what is my specialty? And because I have been through this and I understand deeply my clients, I decided to be specialized in something that we called ADD, or attention deficit disorder, because it is so widespread and so many people are struggling with it. And sometimes they're not even aware what is going on with them. This was my case. I just thought, that's me. I'm distracted. My I don't know, attention to detail is almost non-existent. I'm forgetful. I tend to procrastinate. And the more I was telling this to myself, the more I was judging myself, and the more I was feeling there is something wrong with me. Okay. And actually, one funny incident woke me up when I was folding my clothes and I came to my wardrobe and I was carrying this blue sweater in my hand, and I opened my wardrobe and I saw exact same sweater inside. And I took it and I had two exact same sweaters. And I said, when did this happen? I don't remember buying same two sweaters, and I know that I didn't buy them at the same time. So I said, oh my God, I'm so disconnected. So I realized I need to do something about it because it becomes so destructive for my life. This was like a funny incident and I was laughing at myself, but sometimes it can have like a bigger impact on your life that is not good. So I will just tell you what are usually symptoms. Maybe you can recognize yourself or not, if not, even better. So I used to be scattered. I was not able to concentrate on something for more than 5 minutes. And if you're studying anything, then it's not good, of course. I got easily distracted. Anything would catch my attention. And then I would, be like a squirrel. I would be running around. I would be forgetting what I was doing. I would start doing something else. I would forget this and so on. I was prone to procrastination, especially when I needed to do something that I didn't want to do, of course. And I would have to force myself to do some tasks. I was leaving things to the last minute, and then I would become really stressful. This would become really stressful, and I would be running on adrenaline, which is not a very healthy way to live, obviously. I was fidgety. I had really strong inner restlessness. I couldn't sit still, I was always rushing things, even when there was no need to rush things. This is a huge sign that you are severely stressed. I would jump from one task to another without finishing the first one or the second one or the third. I was very forgetful, which is not typical for me. My memory is pretty good, especially I remember names and things like that. And actually, I realized I was forgetful because I was not present in my life in the first place. So it's I wouldn't remember because I wouldn't be present. That's how it was working. In general, my life was a struggle. And I felt that I have to work really hard to achieve things. And I was watching people around me, like they were achieving it like seemingly much easier than I did. So it was frustrating. And all of that just made me feel bad about myself, self-conscious. I was very self-conscious about everything. So, and how my healing journey started actually with this realization with sweater. And then universe usually also works in a mysterious ways. And it started sending me more people who had exactly same things going on for them. Because universe knew me that I'm gonna take a deeper look what is wrong with someone else than with me. So I started talking to them and I decided, okay, I need to know more. And I started doing lots of research online, what is causing ADD, how it can be healed, how is it medicated, and so on. And actually, I decided to do lots of interview with people who have like symptoms. And I learned from them a great deal. And interesting things came up, you know. First, what I realized, and I will share this, and this is my deep belief. You can say, yeah, it's true or it's not, but for me it's definitely true, that attention deficit disorder label itself is not very true. Because what I realized talking to all those people, that when they are doing something they like and they're interested in, there is no deficit of attention. They can be doing it for hours, you know. So I said, okay, so there is no attention deficit. The only attention deficit would be happening when those people would be forced to do something they're not interested in. And for me, I think this is quite natural. It is a natural reaction to something. You don't want to be doing it and then you're not interested, okay? But what is happening in a society, especially I think in schools, we are forced to fit one mold. And if you don't fit in, then it's easiest to give you some kind of label and to force you to fit in. And then what it makes you feel like, okay, there is something wrong with me. And if you have recognized yourself in any of those symptoms that I just told you about, what I want you to know that there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you, okay? And this is what I also work with my clients to boost their self-confidence and to make them accept themselves and love themselves, okay? Because I think this is the most important thing. Yeah, most of the people with symptoms of ADD, what I have realized, they have above average intelligence. And if you allow them to do what they are really good at and what they are interested in, this is what I call like a zone of genius. They're brilliant. They're amazing and they can do amazing things. But of course, if you force them to do something that is not of their interest, they will struggle. So, yeah, what I have found out, like actually all those interviews that I have made and all those research made me I could be able to serve my clients better. And I was able to make a healing program that is specially designed for people with ADD. And, you know, and when I talk to them, it's just, you know, in their eyes, you can see, oh my God, finally somebody gets me. And I get them because I have been there and I have helped myself to heal from that. And what I realized, ADD is actually, in my opinion, defense mechanism. Because what I realized, all those people that I talk to at least, they are highly sensitive people who have been severely stressed and traumatized during their lives, especially in their childhood. And what happened is that their brain becomes scattered in order to protect them from more stress that is coming in their life. So when you release energetically, when you release all that stress, all the trauma, all the negative emotions, memories, and things like that, they start calming down. And the effects and symptoms of ADD, they start diminishing. And I even had some clients that were so baffled with all of the sudden they had so much silence in their minds that they used to call me and they said, is that normal? Like, there is no buzzing. Like, will I be effective that way? I said, yeah, you will be effective even more, but you will be effective in a calmer way, you know, because those people are used to live on adrenaline. And this is not good, because after a while, adrenal glands will get depleted and you will get really tired and your body will start to suffer, you know, and lots of adrenaline and cortisol, which are actually toxic after a while. They're stress hormones. We can also remove, if you have excess adrenaline and cortisol in your body, energetically this can be removed as well. So I mean, results with clients have been just amazing. Yeah, what is also happening, many of them told me that they feel numb. Okay, and this is what is called dissociation. And dissociation is actually a split, a fragmentation in a way our brain handles information. And this association can happen on all 4 levels of our beings that I just told you about. Like mental disassociation is, it happens that we forget certain memories because they are just too stressful or too painful for us. Or also what can happen, that part of our psyche that is called inner child. I'm sure that you all heard about inner child. This is a part of our psyche that stores all the shitty stuff, let's say, that happened in our childhood. This inner child gets wounded and it retracts deeply in our subconscious because it just wants to be shielded, it just wants to be protected, and it goes away. But you stay with all that trauma. So we need to address your inner child in order to help you heal if you have ADD symptoms as well. Emotional disassociations happen also when we cannot handle painful emotions, so we suppress them. As I said, they get stuck in our body, and later on, during the course of time, our body starts feeling that. A great book that I can recommend that you can read as well, it has a really good title. It says, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. Carol Truman is a author. And this is a big truth. The more we suppress our emotions, the number we feel, but in the long run, it can have a really big impact on our health, emotional, mental, physical, on all levels, okay? And also we can get dissociated on a physical level. And this usually happens that our chakras, like energy centers in our body, they got blocked. So energy cannot flow freely through our body. And also results in the long run can be many different illnesses. Also, one of the signs of physical dissociation is when a person is clumsy. And this is happening because body and soul are actually not communicating properly, and person is not aligned with the body and doesn't feel good in the body, and therefore like the movements are clumsy and things like that. Spiritual dissociation happens in a form that is so-called soul fragmentation. How can I explain this to you? Like, our soul is like a big sun that is shining on our body. And when we get traumatized, and this trauma is so severe that maybe our body wouldn't survive, soul, in a wish to protect us, dims that light. And this is when a split happened and part of our soul gets dislodged. And again, it is causing us to feel numb. And at the time of trauma, this is a really good defense mechanism because otherwise we wouldn't survive. But if this gets stuck with us, then we feel numb, we feel like dissociated, and we feel separated from others. We don't feel that we belong. So it can have a really, really big impact on us. So I'm helping people to heal from disassociation as well. What is also interesting that many children have ADD or even ADHD, like hyperactivity. And if they are very young, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, like then you might ask yourself, how can it be that they have ADD and they were not on earth long enough to be so stressed and traumatized? And actually what I realized, trauma and stress, they can be inherited. They can come from long line. You know, for myself, my great grandma, she was in a Holocaust. So I had to work on myself to release that trauma. And I also worked on my son, because we can go backwards and we can go in the future. There are things that are called miasms. These are like inherited distortion of our energy field that can be from alcoholism, from poverty, anything. Anything can be in a form of miasm. So actually, many things that maybe you might be struggling with didn't even start with you, but with your ancestors. An interesting thing is, when I was going through my training and my teacher told me, when you heal yourself on ancestral level, you're not healing only yourself, you're energetically healing all your ancestors. And people who can see spirits, oh my God, they are so grateful because they are in a spirit world and we are doing the healing for them. So I think, yeah, this work is just amazing. So with children also we can do a lot, and also toxins are a big thing, you know, from food, from water, from everywhere. They can also mess up with our brain. One funny thing that I realized, there is a part of our brain that is called reticular activating system, RES. You can Google it if you want. And actually, this part of our brain is acting as our internal Google, like our search engine. And have you ever noticed that when you pay particular attention to something, for example, when I was pregnant, all of a sudden I would see pregnant women all over the place. I gave birth, and all of a sudden I would see babies around me. It's not that there were more babies at that time, but I was more aware of them, and I had that written down into my Google, and it was searching in my physical reality. And this RES part of brain with people who have ADD and who are severely stressed, it is working in the overdrive. And actually, I realized that their RES works like Google with million tabs open at the same time. And when you have million tabs open, of course you cannot be focused because your attention is everywhere and actually nowhere. So when I work on that part of their brain and release all the blocks or imbalances, all of a sudden they start becoming able to focus on things that they need to focus at the moment. And what else I wanted to tell you? Yeah, like I told you, sometimes the changes are deep and subtle. What I'm doing, it's not typical talk therapy. They just come and they tell me their issues first time, and then we go in and we energetically release things, you know, in layers. And over the period of time, they realize that their brain is calmer, they can focus more, and yeah, they actually start loving themselves and taking themselves as they are, you know. And I think this is the biggest blessing that I can give them. So yeah, this is in a nutshell what I wanted to tell you. I hope that I wasn't speaking too fast. This is also one of my traits. So if you have any questions.
Yeah, that was incredible. Honestly, you
Thank
just literally blew my mind. That was one of my favorite presentations we've ever had.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
What we do now is we open it up for questions to our group,
please.
but I definitely have a few. What came to mind for me was when you were talking about how ADD comes from, like, you know, you're just not doing something you enjoy.
Yes.
And there's trauma that's causing you to not want to, you know, focus on what's in front of you. I would have to assume, just like thinking through my own experience, because I was diagnosed with ADD and I also had a lot of work in front of me that I didn't want to do. But then I would have to say that that's probably like the root cause of people turning to substances as well, potentially, you know, because I think for me, it's like the same exact thing. Like I didn't like what was in front of me. I didn't know how to cope. And so, like, I'm thinking about people who are told they have something or they're having a hard time focusing. They want to focus, you know, society's telling them that they have to do what's in front of them. So maybe they start like turning to coffee. They think like coffee's the answer, you know, and that's not working. So then they try all these different things to manipulate themselves to try to fit into the situation around them instead of just changing the external environment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, people with ADD, they use coffee a lot. And I realized why. Also, this was one of the biggest revelation that I had in interviews. Like there is a part of our brain that is here, and it is called prefrontal cortex. And with people who have ADD, this prefrontal cortex is actually underactive. And what caffeine does is to activate this part of their brain, and they are then able to focus more. And I then realized, oh my God, this is why I felt brain fog every morning. And before I had my coffee, I couldn't think coffee, I would be fine. And there are people, I mean, I can go with 1 cup of coffee per day. There are people who use it in liters. And again, then adrenal glands are taxed. There is lots of stress going on in the body, and it's not good. And I think, Kyle, what you said about people who are going into substance abuse, I think the root cause is a lack of connection to themselves, to universe, to other people, and not feeling good about themselves. You know, when you feel good about yourself and you love yourself, why would you use anything that is harmful to you?
Yeah, no, I agree entirely. And so that brings me to the other question I had was when it comes to the trauma, you talked about how sometimes it's past life, sometimes it's this life. How do people, I assume the first step is identification of the trauma?
Sometimes, yes. I always ask, do I need to know more? If I get a yes, then we dig deeper. And I can pinpoint trauma into the year and then about what was it about. But very often I don't even have to know. And what I really like about this modality is not re-traumatizing you, because we don't have, because I had people who were victims of sex trafficking, of rape, of, you know, horrible stuff. And the last thing they want to do is to talk about it.
Right.
They can just even tell me, Natasha, something happened to me, something really bad happened to me when I was 10 years old. Can we work on that? And if they don't want to tell me what it was about, they're totally okay. I don't need to know.
Incredible. Yeah,
I don't need to know.
So you rewire them.
I'm releasing. So when I'm working on them energetically, I release the root causes of emotions that is this trauma causing for them. They will still remember the things, you know, the events, but they will not have emotional charge anymore.
Wow.
You know?
That's incredible.
Yeah. So we are not deleting anything because they need those memories, you know, but we are releasing negative charge of emotions that they are connected with this trauma.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
I see my buddy Joe has his hand up, so I'm going to unmute Joe.
Okay.
Natasha, that was phenomenal. That was an amazing explanation and like a coalition of all the stuff that, like, I think a lot of people deal with. I was never diagnosed myself personally with ADHD, but as you spoke, I noticed some very like light bulbs went off in my head, and I was like, holy shit, I behave like that so much. And it's almost like, back to the labeling portion of it, it's almost like all of us have a form of it in a certain sort of way. We've had traumas that have allowed these things to happen, and we make decisions, and because we're all humans, there's like a common thread, and that common thread seems to lead to a label called ADHD. So this is not really my question, but it is my question. It popped up in the comments, and it attributes to me because my wife, who is on here, hi Desiree, she had been diagnosed with ADHD, had to take medication for it. And another question came up about the medication Adderall. And I know in my own life, there was something that I abused, not because I was diagnosed with it. I took it as a recreational thing, and then as a form of needing it after a while. And then I know other people who are diagnosed with ADHD, been given the medication by the doctors and prescribed. Some people I know are prescribed extraordinarily high doses. And I know for myself, when I was abusing it, those high doses, I believe, had a little bit of tie to some of the things that I've slowly had to unweave over these past few years because it really jacked my neurological system up. I don't know if you know much about the Adderall space, or if you could speak a little bit to that, because I know that there's a couple of people on here that might benefit from that. So that'd be great.
Okay, so my disclaimer here, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor.
Totally.
And I'm not supposed to prescribe or say anything about medications because I have no clue. What I can tell you from energetic point of view is that those things, any kind of medications, they don't address the root cause. This is the biggest issue. They are just covering the symptoms, you know? They're just covering the symptoms. And of course, any chemical can have impact on your liver, on your kidneys, on your whole neurological system, as you say. You know, I understand that people sometimes have to have it because if they are in a really bad way, they need to help themselves somehow. And I also deeply believe that energy healing and energy medicine is the future. You know?
Totally agree with you. I almost think it's something from the past that we're starting to remember again that we can utilize, because it feels like it feels so innately true. I'm a Reiki practitioner myself, and it just feels that thank you, Tammy. Tammy's my teacher. She's on here. There is an innate truth to it that there aren't really words that I can use to describe the truth that I feel from it, but there's a truth that comes from it. And even doing Reiki on myself, you know what I notice and tremendously is if you do Reiki on animals have a tendency to show you the signal that it's affecting them much different than a human will, because they have a tendency to feel it. So I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent with it, but what I'm basically saying is it's just, I feel like half of the issue is that we've forgotten that energy, we are energy.
Yeah.
And I think is that, to your point, it's coming back. We're connecting back to that point.
Yeah. One of the things that I check with my clients quite often, because it's also a widespread thing, is I ask question like, is there any imbalance in your brain chemistry? Okay. If there is, and then I'm measuring that in percentage, even if a person didn't tell me that, I would know if there is like imbalance of 50%, I would know that this person is depressed. Okay. And what we do, we energetically, again, we are going on an energy level, we are releasing the root causes of that imbalance, and we make it go away. And over the period of time, person starts to feel different.
One thing I would, sorry to hold you to continue to hold the mic too long, but one thing I want to ask you too, for people who don't maybe understand the energy side of it, because I think we correlate it being something that is exogenous. And like when you were working with energy, I think people want to, as humans in the world we live in, we have this like tangibility. We want to be able to touch it, taste it, smell it, all that type of stuff. So when you say get onto that energetic level, how are you experiencing that? So that way, maybe you can help other people understand why it's working. So how maybe you are experiencing the energy.
Okay. So I have always been a very highly sensitive person, even though I was not aware of it. And I would go into the, you know, how you go into, I don't know, a room, and all of a sudden you can feel the tension there. Or you can feel like a peace and calm. This is your energy system actually communicating with you. You meet someone for the first time and you like that person, even though you don't know anything about her or him. This is because your energies are in resonance. They are working properly together. There are some people that you met and you just like repelled by them because this is your energy fields are clashing, you know? I don't see energies per se, but I can feel them. And my intuition, the more I work, the better I'm connected. And I just hear things. I'm that kind of, I don't see much, but I hear things. You know, universe would just whisper to my ear and they would point me. Sometimes when I have my book that I use sometimes, it would start opening exactly on a sentence that I need to read. Yeah. This is how universe communicates with me. This is what I told you. I'm not a healer. I'm just a channel. Healer is always coming from above, however you want to call it. Is it a God? Is it universe? Is it love? Whatever, you know, I'm just a channel. So I hope that I answered at least half of your
Definitely.
question.
Definitely, especially the hearing part, because it's funny because I have a lot of people that work in the energetic field, and they see a lot, and I don't see so much all the time. It's very auditory for me, and I'm starting to learn to decipher.
You can sense it.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm starting to decipher between the part of me that's trying to conjure up the voice and then the one that like whispers from nowhere. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Because for a long time, those two confused me. And it was like a dance. Like, which one am I listening to? And then you like maybe listen to the wrong one and be like, oh shit, whoops.
We all have that, you know, everybody, every healer, I think every practitioner of any kind of healing modality, it goes through the phase when you are just wondering, am I just, you know, thinking it, making it up? But yeah, and what I noticed with my clients, if they are open and if they believe in that kind of work, oh my God, results are just magnificent. If they believe this is rubbish, and then universe will support them because we have a free will. If you think that it works, it will work. If you think that it won't, and that's it. You know, there are people, I mean, you want to help everyone, especially at the beginning. And then you realize that your friends and family, they think that you just went bonkers, you know, you're not normal anymore. All of a sudden, fine, okay, if you don't want to believe me, fine, you know. But yeah, and sometimes when I tell them things, you know, they have, I don't know, I'll just tell you an example. They have issue with their eyes. And I just ask question, okay, just think for yourself. What do you want? What are you not able to see in your life? Oh, here she goes again. You know, so it's totally up to people. I had amazing results with people who are open and receptive, and I had almost non-existent results with people who are not opening to it.
That's a phenomenal distinction, really is. And personally, as a healer myself, that's an important thing to hear, because I think we may beat ourselves up for certain people who are just on, like, they got the fence up, the wall up, and they're like, I'm good. I don't get it, you know. And it's not.
You cannot reach them. You cannot reach them. No.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
And that's
Natasha.
okay. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I see Adam's got his hand up, so we'll go to Adam next.
Hello. I will say you're very intuitive, because as soon as I raised my hand, you answered my question.
Really?
Without
What was your question? Please let me know.
No, emotion code is something I've been interested in for a while now, and I've just been on the fence about going forward and getting the certification. And you know, the thing that holds me back the most is convincing people. And it's like, I myself, it's like, I believe in it so much, but I'm still on the fence. It's like, and I tell people, like, when I'm doing it, I'm 100% in. You have to be all in. And it's like, when you step back, you're like, I don't know. So on a personal level, and as someone who's gone through certification, become a healer, what would you say to someone who's on the fence, looking to go down this path?
I mean, I can tell you from my own experience, because I used to be a teacher, and I was brought up totally in a rational, you know, environment. We were not discussing anything spiritual or religious at all, so I was not brought that way. And for me, it also took some time, and my mind was also struggling to grasp, like, oh, you are just making everything up. But my heart was so strongly in it that for me, the pull was so strong that I couldn't resist it anymore. And when I needed to teach, I would, at last, I needed to force myself. I would almost like to vomit, because it was totally not in alignment with me. And then I read Emotion Code book, and I knew that's it for me, you know. And at that time, I didn't have money for certification. And I always talk to angels, and I ask them, okay, so I really want this. What can I do? And they pointed me. They pointed me. I got one golden bracelet from my aunt that I actually wasn't wearing. And they told me, like, sell it. You're not using it anyhow. And I said, okay, I'm going to sell it if I get enough money for certification. I got money almost up to the euro for that bracelet. So I knew that universe is supporting me to go there, you know. So for you, Adam, if you are not certain about getting certified, work on yourself, work on your friends, work on people for free if you want, you know, for a while, just until you get enough certainty that this is for you. And then you go and then you get certified. Makes sense?
Yes, definitely. And I've started slowly. So one other question: are you familiar with Lynn McTaggart?
Yeah, I think I read her book.
So she has a couple books for everybody else in the chat. She talks about group intention projects that she does, and a group as small as 8 can send intention to a person, a situation, something. And she says, yes, the person we're sending the intention to will benefit, but also the people who are sending the intention see this reciprocal benefit. And I was just curious if, in working with emotion code, have you ever experienced that as you're working on someone, you actually feel like you're healing yourself?
Definitely, 100%, always. All the healing is self-healing. And when I'm working with groups, usually what I realize, this is called like a borrowing benefit. We can choose one member of the group and work on her or him. Everybody else will get benefits. And usually groups are so consistent that people share issues. And when I was working with one person, they told me, oh my God, I felt that you were working on me. So yeah, universe is a really smart place. And there are no coincidences. So definitely, either if you're working in a group or you're working one-on-one, healing will happen if the person is ready and open and receptive. If not, universe says, okay, fine, I'm respecting your free will and I'm not gonna breach it. And that's it. It's very simple, actually.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Adam. Awesome seeing you here too. Desiree. I see Desiree with her hand up.
Hi.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really interested in this because, you know, I was diagnosed with ADD when I was a freshman in high school. And it definitely took me down a road of not good, that label, especially with the drugs they gave me. I found myself definitely addicted to those after years and years of taking them. And I definitely found myself also trying to connect back to myself, knowing that the drugs weren't working. They were doing me more harm than good. So I did start getting into energy healing. I think my thought was I needed someone to heal me, so I had to become the healer, kind of thing. And it's just interesting that, you know, I'm realizing right now that I'm actually still not doing enough work on myself because I still have a lot of those blockages. I have a lot, everything that you were saying about ADD, I was like, oh my God, I still have all of that kind of going on right now. Definitely drinking too much coffee to still make, you know, to go forward, to try to just live, you know. So I'm so grateful for you coming on here. I don't really know if I have any questions, but I just wanted to share that because I really, that's really helped me this morning to hear that because, you know, being a new year, I want to be able to continue to be able to live from my heart. And I think feeling that feeling of not fitting in or not being enough or not being able to concentrate, like it actually kind of gets me a little emotional.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know, so thank you.
Look, what if you take just one thing from my speech today, okay? I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you, Desiree, or anybody else who could relate. There is nothing wrong with you. You have just been traumatized, you have been stressed, and all of those things are still lodged in your energy system, okay? So aura, chakras, your body remembers everything. So energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed, but it can be transmuted. So emotions can be released. You know, trauma also can be released and transmuted. And then all of a sudden you can calm down, you can feel better. I also work with people who have low self-esteem energetically, and over a period of time, they accept themselves, they start loving themselves, and all of a sudden they see that they are unique with purpose. We are not meant to be all equal, you know, and all, you know, all perfect square or whatever. Every one of us is unique, and this is how it was meant to be. So there's nothing wrong with you. This is what I want you to remember.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
and
you.
I'm really glad you're such a wonderful group. I mean, so great questions here. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Des.
more than welcome.
That was awesome. Thank you, Des. Just to
Thank you.
confirm, Natasha, you can do this work remotely too, right?
Definitely. I'm working remotely from the start. Actually, I mean, I'm rarely doing it one-on-one, even before COVID time, because energy doesn't know distance. So yeah, from the beginning, I was doing it online.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, awesome. Lee has a question. Go ahead, Lee. Oh, I hear some crying children.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned about the ancestry healing. And I just wanted to know, in regard to that, how would you, is this something that we can do on ourselves, or is this something that we would need to come to see someone like yourself for, like to do the ancestry healing?
Look, if you are familiar with energy healing, I guess you could do it on your own. But I'll tell you honestly what I do when I have any kind of issues. I usually ask for help from my fellow practitioners, because that's why we have each other, because I cannot see myself objectively, and universe will not give me some answers that they will get. I have been working on myself for last 15, 16 years at least. And just recently I got like information about some deep trauma that happened to me when I was a child, like really nasty stuff. And then I asked, how come that you never told me before? And a really simple and straightforward answer came: because you were not ready. So people need to be ready to heal something. They need to be strong enough. And the second thing is, it's always good to have someone else to be there for you. Make sense?
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome, Lee.
Thank you, Lee. It's good seeing you here too. Do we have any other questions for anybody? Oh, awesome, Angela. This is great.
Hi, Natasha,
Angela.
I just wanted to say I'm deeply grateful for you coming on. And the way you present things is so clear and straightforward and easy to understand, and just really wonderful. You're a wonderful presenter and just a wonderful speaker. And yeah, thank you.
So much.
So I guess my question for me personally is, I have two. Which one do I want to ask? So the first, this is what came up, you know, as I'm listening to you, you know, I also have been working for quite a long time. You know, I do a lot of things myself. You know, I'm, you know, I'm learning essential oil. You know, I'm a yoga teacher, and I've been a Reiki practitioner also for a long time. You know, and I do a lot of, you know, I have a degree in psychology. I do a lot. So what has come really clear to me, there's some things that I have not been successful with healing, no matter what I do. And I've tried everything on the physical plane, energetic plane, you know, other people, myself. So what came up for me while I was listening to you was, so the first 3 months of my life are a blank. I was adopted at age 3 months. So I spent the first 3 months of my life with a foster family. So I was with my biological mother for like 1 day or something, maybe 2 days. And then those 3 months I was with a foster family who I know nobody knows anything about. I mean, we actually do know who they are, and I've wanted to facilitate meeting them. But then when I got to my family, you know, my forever family, I had an incredibly traumatic experience, I guess. Like, and that's what they, like they took me to the doctor after a week and were like, why won't this baby stop crying? You know, like, we don't understand. And like, and at that point they just said, you know, she was in a foster family. There's probably other kids, you know, they moved her around all the time and, you know, played with her and she's just bored or something like, they said something like that. And, you know, and throughout my life, you know, I've worked with this, and I know that that's probably not true. It's that I had a, you know, a separation, a trauma. And so I wonder, I guess, from an energetic perspective, and I do have lots of people that can help me with this, including myself. What would be your suggestion, just for that whole experience? Like, I don't know my biological mother. I don't know what her experience is. I suspect there was a lot of sadness and stuff around the separate. I mean, I can't even imagine carrying a child for 9-10 months and then giving it away. Like, you know, people don't really do that a lot anymore, you know, like that's intense. That's got to be intense. Like, and I have no idea like what she experienced. And I've tried to connect with her. It hasn't really worked. I will try again. But like, I don't know, like going around kind of, I'm wondering if this is causing some of the stuff that I have been unable to heal, like no matter what I try. And like, what would you say, I guess, if someone's, and you know, I say like, so basically it's a blank. Like I have no idea what my experiences in the womb were, what my experiences those first, you know, months of life. All I know is, you know, when the pain started, you know, from childhood, like, you know, and there were no major traumatic experiences until I was actually a teenager. You know, from my childhood was actually really good. But I'm wondering if that first bit, and like, how would I go about, like,
Look, in a way that I'm doing my work with my clients, I would ask, is there any block or imbalances still present in my energy field? Because I'm working with questions. Is there any block or imbalances in my energy field from like in utero time? Okay, while you were still in a womb. Then I would go, is there any block or imbalances still left in me from my birth? So, you know, the process of being born. Is there any, like, we can go day by day, we can go week by week, we can go month by month, you know? And then if I get yes, I ask, do I need to know more? If I get yes, we dig deeper. If I get no. By the way, Adam, this is not a typical emotion code anymore. I used to do typical emotion code at the beginning, but I learned so much after that I become much faster. So anyhow, if I need to know more, that would mean that you need to become aware of some things, that we would dig deeper. If I get to know, then we would just release any blocks or imbalances that are in you that are causing you to feel whatever you are feeling that is not good for you. And this is how we could progress until, you know, we come to your age. This is one of the things. The first thing that came to my mind, definitely when you were talking about this, is abandonment issue. Like, you know, abandonment wound. So, sorry, my nose is running. So yeah, I would address this. Ask, do you have any kind of abandonment issue or wound or whatever? Does your relationship with your biological mother needs healing and cleansing? This would be also one of the really good questions, you know? And on a soul level, I'm sure that you two have agreed that this will happen. But when you come to earth plane and you are surrounded with your emotion, then it's tough. Then it's tough. And all the people who played negative, let's say negative or tough roles in your life, I think in the spiritual realm, they're one of your best friends, because they have agreed that they will come and they will play in your physical experience on earth, you know? So does it make sense to you, Angela, what I have just said?
Absolutely. And so this will be the third time that I have tried to establish some kind of relationship with her, the biological mother, and third time's a charm. Wonderful things come in threes, so I'm all about it. I'll do it. I'm gonna try again.
Yeah. And for example, when I'm helping people who have difficult relationships with someone, especially with parents, you don't have to confront them. We work on relationship and we work on you, and we don't need to discuss that with other people.
I agree. And I think that, so I have an idea for a different approach. I just want to know what it was like for her. I want to know what her experience was of carrying a child and then letting it up, letting it go. Like I'm not angry in any way anymore. I don't need anything from her. I don't need her to be a certain way, which when I contacted her in my 20s, I did, and I didn't like how she talked to me, and I didn't, and I was very judgmental. Now I just want to know, like, what was that like, and I see her as just this incredible being for doing that, like for carrying a child for that long. And I don't want to know about her experience. I want to know what she felt, and I want to, and then go from there. So so I've been procrastinating the last year, I guess, doing this again, but this is exactly what I need. And thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. I would encourage you to first work on yourself and release all those blocks,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Angela. I have a question. Do your clients have to be in a certain like state when you're asking their soul these questions? Like, is it a form of hypnotist, or it could just be like a conversation like this?
No, with people, and for example, with children, when I'm working with children, they don't need to be present at all.
Wow.
I just agree with parents, because parents, they give me permission.
Yeah.
And I do it, and I just make a short report, and I can send short report by email. And then if needed, I can again talk to parents,
Yeah.
So no. And if they are online, we are just talking like this, and maybe some new things will come up. Sometimes they become emotional. I always tell them, if you feel like crying, please let it out. Don't suppress it anymore. Sometimes after the session, they feel a bit more emotional, a bit more raw, or a bit more tired. But after a while, when the processing is done, when everything is aligned, energetically, they feel much lighter, because we have released a lot of emotional baggage from them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That is truly incredible. Does anyone else have any other questions before we go here? I don't see any. So I want to thank Kim. We had Kim recommend you as a speaker. So I'm very grateful and welcome to the Quantum Healing Collective. So we have speakers. I see some new people. So I'll just say we have speakers come on every weekend and do stuff like this. So if you guys recommend anybody, let us know. I'm so grateful that we found you, Natasha. I look forward to staying in touch. Yeah, that was great. So what we do now at the end of each of our meetings is we say a prayer to like harness all this energy. And I believe Joe is going to read that today.
Well, unfortunately, I do not have it available to read in front of me, but I'm going to come off the cuff here. First, I want to really, really thank everybody for really shelling out their heart today. My lovely wife, Desiree, Angela, there was some just things that you just don't know. And I've been with Desiree for 17 years. And just to see that was a lot for me. So, and amazing day. The energy that was cultivated today through this conversation, Natasha, you facilitated, I think, a lot for people here today. And we really
thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for being here. And the energy that we collected today, we want to shell that out to the world for anybody who is attempting to awaken at this present time, especially through this difficult time. And we want to send this beautiful energy that we gathered here today out to the world and help all those awaken and see their own truth. So I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Natasha. I love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Much love.
Thank you.